We live in a world that feeds on our reactions. The faster we rage, the louder we protest, the quicker we lose control, the more the world wins. Every insult, every setback, every cruel twist of fortune, it all pushes us to flinch, to lash out, to crumble. But here's the truth that most people never grasp. Every time you react blindly, you hand over your power. Every time you take the bait, you become a puppet, strings pulled by anger, fear, or pride. And yet, if you can learn to stand calm when others fall apart, if you can move through fire without letting it scorch your soul, you become untouchable. Imagine carrying yourself as if nothing has the power to disturb you. Not because you're numb, not because you're blind, but because you've trained yourself to rise above the noise. That's the Stoic way. And once you grasp it, you'll realize that nothing, not chaos, not betrayal, not even death, can touch your inner fortress. The unmoved mind. Epictetus, born a slave, crippled in body but unbreakable in spirit, said it clearly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it, that matters. He had every reason to hate the world, every excuse to wallow in bitterness, yet he built his philosophy on the exact opposite. That true power lies in mastering the self. We have no command over the storms that hit us. Fortune is wild, death is certain, and suffering is guaranteed. But what we do command, what no tyrant, no enemy, no betrayal can strip away, is how we face it. The Stoic mind doesn't deny pain. It doesn't pretend life is fair. It sees the wound for what it is, then refuses to let the wound dictate the soul. That's what it means to act as if nothing bothers you. Not indifference, but sovereignty. The discipline of emotion. Let's be honest. Anger feels powerful. Grief feels unavoidable. Fear feels real. But the Stoics taught that emotions, left unchecked, are chains we willingly wear. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome surrounded by war, plague, and betrayal, wrote in his Meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." What this really means is simple. The world doesn't disturb us. We disturb ourselves by the stories we tell about the world. When insulted, do we tell ourselves, "I have been dishonored"? When rejected, do we say, "I am unworthy"? That is our doing, not reality's. Strip away the story and the sting loses its teeth. This is the work. To pause between event and reaction, to cut the chain that yanks us into rage or despair, and to choose instead the steadiness of reason. The power of appearance. Seneca warned that most of our torment comes not from reality, but from imagination. We suffer more in our minds than in the actual moment. We rehearse losses that haven't happened. We magnify insults that were fleeting. We construct prisons out of shadows. The Stoic response is to step back and ask, is this appearance true? Is the weight I feel real, or is it a trick of perception? When we learn to doubt the first blow of emotion, we rob it of its dominance. Fear knocks at the door, but we don't have to let it in. Anger flares, but we can let it burn itself out without fanning the flame. Training the will. Here's the brutal truth. No one becomes unshakable overnight. The mind has to be trained, like a soldier hardened by countless battles. The Stoics used exercises, premeditation of adversity, voluntary discomfort, even imagining death, to sharpen their resilience. Think of it as a gym for the soul. Sleep on the floor sometimes, fast, walk in the cold. Remind yourself that loss is inevitable, that health, wealth, reputation, they're all on loan from fate. This isn't pessimism, it's armor. When life does strike, you're not surprised, you're ready. As Musonius Rufus said, practice then from the start to say to every harsh impression, you are an impression and not at all the thing you appear to be. The mask of tranquility. Now let's be clear, acting as if nothing bothers you doesn't mean bottling up rage or pretending to be untouchable. That would be false Stoicism, a mask of stone covering a heart of fire. True Stoicism is the opposite. It's mastering the inner storm so deeply that your outer calm isn't a performance. It's the natural expression of control. But there is power in the mask itself. Even when we are shaken, even when grief claws at us, we can choose composure in action. We can hold the line in public while working through the turmoil in private. Why? Because composure spreads. It steadies those around us. It prevents chaos from multiplying. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Be like the rock against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." That's the image, the rock, not the wave. Unity in the struggle. We're not alone in this fight. The world has always been harsh, and every generation before us has wrestled with the same demons. The names change, Caesar, Nero, famine, plague, but the battle is the same. Can we hold our minds steady in the face of chaos? And here's where Stoicism draws us together. When we commit to mastering ourselves, we aren't just protecting our own peace. We're strengthening the whole. We're showing others that endurance is possible, that despair isn't inevitable. We stand as examples, not of perfection, but of discipline. We stumble, but we return to the path. We hurt, but we refuse to let pain rule us. Facing death without fear. All of Stoicism leads to this, the confrontation with death, because if we can stare death in the face and not tremble, then nothing else can truly break us. Seneca said, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man." And Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. To live with death always present is to live awake. Every slight, every insult, every loss, they shrink to their true size when set against mortality. Why should we rage at trifles when tomorrow we might be gone? Act as if nothing bothers you, because in the end, nothing truly does. The grave swallows all. The only question is, how did we carry ourselves while we breathed? The call to action. So what do we do with all this? We begin the training. Today, not tomorrow. We start with awareness. Watch the next surge of anger rise in your chest, and instead of obeying it, hold it at arm's length. Watch it like a scientist, not a slave. When misfortune comes, and it will, meet it with dignity, not complaint. When insult lands, smile at its futility. When fear whispers, remind it that you are mortal, and mortality frees you. This is not easy. It never was. But the harder the path, the greater the strength. The Stoics weren't preaching comfort. They were forging warriors of the soul, and we can join them. Act as if nothing bothers you. Because what's the alternative? To be ruled by every passing shadow, every cruel word, every fleeting fear, that's not living, that's slavery. Epictetus had his freedom stripped from him. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire drenched in turmoil. Seneca faced the order to end his own life. All of them lived under pressure greater than most of us will ever know. And still, they held to this truth. The mind is its own kingdom. We can choose to be unmoved. We can choose to stand firm. We can choose, no matter what storms crash upon us, to remain whole. So let's carry ourselves as the Stoics did, unshaken, unafraid, acting as if nothing bothers us, not because we are blind, but because we see more clearly than anyone else. And when the world looks to us and wonders, how can they remain so steady? We'll know the answer. Because we are Stoics, and nothing owns us.